Hey guys, it's Lauren. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, I do a lot of tutorials with a knitting machine. I have a standard gauge Knit King 93. Today I'm working with a cotton yarn and working on a cardigan that has lots of drop stitches and some beadwork, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to show you how I do my beadwork. This technique has the beads on the knit stitches themselves, so it's knit into the fabric, not sewn in afterwards. It's a great way to elevate your knits relatively easy, so let's get into what you need and how you can make this possible. So all you're going to need is a sewing needle that fits through the bead that you're wanting to attach to the knit stitches, some sewing thread. I'm just using this black one. It doesn't really matter what the material is because you're just using it as a tool. And then I like to have my latch hook tool handy for when you put it back onto the needles. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is you're going to thread your needle with the string that you've chosen. A quick tip for threading is you make a little loop at the top and put your needle through until you have it on either side. And then you just want to pinch it real tight with your fingers. And then you can take the opening and just slide it over. And you want to pull it until there's thread on either side, so you don't make a knot. Next, just take whatever bead you're choosing to put on your stitches and put it right over the needle onto the thread, just hanging like this, and make sure you're holding it with your finger, otherwise obviously it's just going to slip right off. And I will say this method only works for beads that are small enough to fit on the head of the stitch, so if you're trying to use a really big bead, it's probably not going to work that way and you're going to have to sew it on, but if it's small enough like this to fit on the stitches, it's totally fine. Okay, so next you want to identify the stitch that you're wanting to attach the bead to. So I want to attach it to this one, so I'm gonna pull forward the stitch that I want a little bit just so it doesn't fall off while I'm doing this, and you want to insert your needle into the stitch. So I'm just gonna go and insert it. So now you can see it's through the loop. Next, I'm gonna push the needle from the bed until the latch comes out and over it, and then I'll push it back in and that releases it. So now I have my stitch on my needle. Now just take a second to make sure you've gone through the stitch correctly and that you haven't missed anything, so mine looks perfect. So now all I'm going to do is pull through, but I'm not going to pull the string all the way through. I'm going to hold one end of the string so that only one thread goes through. So I'm pinching and holding down one piece of thread, and you can see that other thread goes up and through the stitch. So now it should look like this. And now you want to take your needle and pass it through the bead. So I'm just gonna pass it through. Oops, I got it caught on this. Okay. So now it should look like this, and you'll have it hooked like that. At this point, you can set down your needle and pick up your latch hook tool. So I'm just going to push the bead, and now you can see that it's correctly on the head of the stitch. Now you're going to use like all of your fingers for this, so you want to be pulling down enough so that the bead is all the way at the bottom and the head of the stitch is coming out as much as possible. And then open it up with your latch hook tool, again making sure you're going through it correctly, not grabbing any unwanted yarns. So it should look like this. And now with your other finger, just push forward the stitch that you need to return it to. Open the latch if you need to, and hook it back on. Usually I like to push my needle all the way out now when I knit the next row so that I guarantee that it doesn't come out. And then you can just take out that string, and now you have your bead onto the knit. Okay, a quick lighting change because I just realized this in the morning. There's also a second way that you can do this without the latch hook tool. It's just by using a transfer tool instead. A single prong will work best for this. So you insert the bead the same way, so I'm just going to do that real quick. So I'm going to take my string, again, just thread it on to my needle. Then I'm going to select whatever bead I have and slide it on. And then I'm going to locate wherever I'm inserting my bead, put the needle through and release. And then I'm gonna thread through just one thread like this, go back through the bead. And now with my single prong transfer tool, I'm gonna push the bead onto the head of the stitch and just pull tight until you can get enough room to insert into the head of the stitch again. And there it goes. It might take a little bit of work, but it might be easier for you than using a latch hook tool. And then you can just remove your string and place it back on the bed. If you have any questions, just let me know. And as usual, make sure to follow my YouTube and my Instagram at the same handle at never.tie.down for more stuff like this. Okay, bye.